Two Aussies, both on Centrelink, both checked their bank account this week. One of them spots a little extra money sitting there, the other checks, sees absolutely nothing different and thinks, so all this talk about a Centrelink increase, guess it doesn't apply to me. Funny thing is, they're actually both right, and by the end of this video you'll know exactly why. See, 1 July isn't just another date on the calendar, mate. It's the start of Australia's new financial year, and this year there's a fair bit happening. We've got Centrelink changes, tax cuts, payday super, a higher minimum wage, and even more paid parental leave. That's a lot to keep up with, so it's no surprise plenty of people are scratching their heads wondering what actually applies to them. And one of the changes in this video could be worth hundreds of dollars over the next year, depending on your situation, so stick around because not all of them are obvious. So let's go through it together in plain English, nice and simple. If you're working, this is probably the first change you'll notice. From 1 July, the lowest income tax rate drops from 16% to 15%, which means plenty of Aussie workers will keep a little more of what they earn over the year. If you're earning around $45,000 or more, that could mean roughly $268 less tax across the year, depending on your own situation. On top of that, the government is also proposing a new $1,000 instant work-related tax deduction for eligible taxpayers from the 2026-27 financial year, but that's still subject to the legislation being passed. Now here's one that might not sound exciting at first, but it's actually a pretty big deal in the long run: payday super. Instead of your employer paying your super every few months, eligible super contributions will generally need to be paid at the same time as your wages. Plus, the compulsory superannuation guarantee increases to 12%. If you're in your 20s or 30s especially, this matters more than you might think because money going into your super earlier has more time to grow through investment returns. Over an entire career, that can add up to a pretty decent difference by the time you retire. Another bit of good news is the minimum wage. From 1 July, Australia's national minimum wage goes up, along with minimum pay rates under modern awards. So if you're on the national minimum wage or covered by an award, you should generally see that increase flow through into your pay once the new rates kick in. For a lot of Aussie households doing it tough with rising living costs, every little bit helps. There's also a boost for growing families. If your child is born or adopted on or after 1 July 2026, eligible families can access 26 weeks of government-funded paid parental leave. The number of reserved partner days is also increasing, giving families more flexibility in how they share that leave. Of course, you'll still need to meet the usual income and work tests to qualify. Now let's get to the bit everyone's been searching for: Centrelink. This is where a lot of the confusion starts. One of the biggest myths going around is that every Centrelink payment increases on 1 July. That's actually not how it works, mate. Most major payments like job seeker, the age pension, youth allowance, and parenting payment are usually indexed in March and September, not on 1 July. But that doesn't mean nothing changes in July. Family tax benefit payment rates increase, and some income and asset thresholds are updated as well. So whether you see a change really depends on the payment you're receiving. If you're getting family tax benefit, you may notice updated payment rates from 1 July. Both Part A and Part B increase, although exactly how much depends on your own family circumstances and the age of your children. If you're already receiving family tax benefit and you're eligible, Services Australia will generally apply those changes automatically. Depending on the changes taking effect from 1 July, some pension income and asset limits may be updated. If you're close to the eligibility thresholds, it's worth checking whether the changes affect your entitlement. It doesn't always mean your fortnightly payment jumps straight away, but higher thresholds can allow some people to earn a bit more or own a little more before their payment starts reducing. For some Aussies, it could even mean becoming eligible for a part payment when they weren't before. So if you're receiving one of those payments and checked your account this week but didn't see any extra money, don't stress. It doesn't mean you've been forgotten. It simply means your payment follows a different indexation schedule, with the regular increases generally happening in March and September instead. A lot of people also ask why two people on the same Centrelink payment can end up getting completely different amounts. Well, that's because Centrelink looks at your individual circumstances. Things like your income, your assets, whether you've got kids, your relationship status, where you're living, and a bunch of other eligibility rules all come into play. So when you see headlines saying Centrelink payments are increasing, it doesn't automatically mean everyone gets the exact same increase. So what should you do now? First up, jump into your MyGov account and check if you've got any new messages from Services Australia. Then make sure your bank details, income, relationship status, and living arrangements are all up to date. If something's changed recently, report it as soon as you can. Keeping everything current can help avoid payment delays or unexpected debts later on. And one last thing, mate. Whenever Centrelink changes hit the news, scammers seem to come out of nowhere. If you get a text message or email asking you to click a link to claim a payment increase, be careful. Services Australia won't ask you to verify your personal details through random links, so always double-check before clicking anything. So that's the wrap-up. From 1 July 2026, there are quite a few important money changes happening across Australia. Plenty of workers will benefit from lower income tax, payday super starts rolling out, the minimum wage is increasing and paid parental leave is expanding. For Centrelink recipients though, it really depends on which payment you're on. Not every payment goes up on 1 July, but changes to family tax benefit, income limits and asset thresholds mean plenty of Australians will still notice an impact. If this video helped clear things up, give it a like, subscribe and turn on notifications. I post simple, easy to understand updates on Australian finance, Centrelink, tax and money every week. Thanks for watching, mate, and I'll catch you in the next one.